Introduce yourself.
Larry Hamm, People's Organization for Progress.
Larry Hamm, I'm trying to be compose myself, right?
Right.
And we're on the record now.
Right.
But this recent George Floyd controversy that happened during the pandemic, that was caught live on tape. Two things came to mind. Chauvin got what he deserved, but also Steve Jobs used to get a Nobel Peace Prize for committing the iPhone so people can videotape spontaneously. Because if he had had this ability back when a lot of things happened, it would not have been, the world could have seen that we weren't always making stuff up before. We wasn't just crying wolf about all the stuff that was going on. And yet now we see it. And because of that video, you know, this one guy got convicted. And, you know, George Floyd National and Nancy Pelosi's going, thank you for sacrificing your life. You know, he didn't really want to die, right? And all these other different things and statues and memorials and benches and down in the north, they got a plaque. But here in New Jersey, in the county of Essex, in the city of Orange, New Jersey, I personally know that POP, People's Organization for Progress, and Larry Hamm scored a grassroots victory that's just as big and to me as profound as what happened with George Floyd and Chauvin getting convicted, rightfully convicted.
Right.
Would you talk about that a little bit? And are there any similarities?
Well, there are plenty of similarities. The one thing that's not similar is that there was not video footage of the murder of Earl Faison, but what there was an organized and mobilized community that was determined to get justice. And at the head of that movement of an organized and mobilized community was his family. His family was so steadfast and so determined to get justice that inspired the entire movement to demand justice for Earl Faison. And that's what helped us to keep going, because the system was doing everything it could to try to exculpate the 5 officers that killed Faison. They did appeals, they moved the trial out of state, they moved it to Philadelphia, everything that they could possibly do. But the community stayed organized, the family stayed in the forefront, and together, that day in the federal courthouse in Newark, a just verdict was rendered. But even then, it was partial justice, because the charges that the 5 officers were found guilty of were federal charges. To this day, the injustice that has never been corrected regarding Faison is that the Essex County prosecutor never brought homicide charges. There was never a homicide investigation. And even today, almost 2 decades after the death of Faison, we still consider that case open because the officers were convicted of conspiracy and civil rights violations. 4 of them were given 3-year terms. 1 of them got almost a 10-year term. They all out. In fact, they've been out. They like 10 years out, you know? And they should have been tried and convicted on murder. They should be getting the same thing that Derek Chauvin is getting. Chauvin got tried for homicide, and he's getting tried by the Justice Department for civil rights violations. That's what should have happened with Faison. But I want to say, you know, I saw the George Floyd monument in downtown Newark. Faison was killed in Orange. People's Organization for Progress calls on the city of Orange to erect some type of memorial to Earl Faison.
Yes, Earl Faison.
That's right. That's right.
He taught me, Earl Faison taught me.
Come in. Introduce yourself.
Hello, how you doing? My name is Mutalavain. I'm from Bradley Court. Earl Faison taught me a lot. He was a good guy, good, respectable guy, and his life was taken by the Orange police.
Before you go, when I was asking Larry, because I'm getting a little salty, because I'm sitting there going, somebody overheard during this recent Juneteenth Day event, somebody overheard Orange officials talking about putting up a George Floyd monument in the city of Orange, when somebody in Orange said, well, what about Earl Faison? And so I want to ask you, why do you think Earl Faison should get a memorial in the city of Orange Township after what happened, if we're going to put up statues around the universe for?
Absolutely. I'm a youth that was under Earl Faison, and just talking about how he stopped a lot of stuff in the street. So he was what you would call a street politician. So His temperament kept people from dying. His temperament allowed things to flow in the area of Velsburg that's now in chaos. So when we talk about so it's not the same type of, you know, thing that you would see, but me coming up as a youth, yes, he had an impact in my life and a lot of other people's lives, bringing people together.
Would you like to see a memorial to Earl Faison in Orange?
Yes, I would, absolutely.
Do you think it's just right? Like I said, if we can do one in, George Floyd, that happened in Minnesota.
That's right.
And they've got statues all around the place in Minneapolis.
Taj Williams, Kalila Williams, Umi, the whole Williams family. I love y'all.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And I agree with him.
So it was 837 South 18th Street.
It was?
Yeah, it wasn't 18th Avenue. Somebody told me
Where?
it was 18th.
Where? What?
Where this